So, your Social Security disability hearing. It can feel like the finish line after a really long, tough journey, right? You've probably waited months, maybe even years, for this one shot to make your case. But what happens if on that one critical day, you just can't get there? Let's break down exactly what you need to know. I mean, it's a terrifying thought, isn't it? A sudden medical emergency, a crisis in the family, your car breaking down on the side of the highway. Life doesn't just hit pause because you have a hearing schedule. And missing this one chance can have some really serious consequences. The stakes here are incredibly high. We're not just talking about a simple delay. Missing your hearing could mean the Social Security Administration just dismisses your case entirely. And that could force you to start the entire process all over again, losing your original filing date and with it, potentially thousands of dollars in back benefits you were counting on. Okay, so when you can't make a hearing, your claim basically faces one of two very different outcomes. It is absolutely crucial to understand the difference between a postponement and a dismissal. One keeps your case alive, but the other, well, the other can be a fatal blow. Think of it like this. A postponement is just like hitting the pause button. Your hearing gets moved to a due date, and this is the important part. Your original filing date and all that potential back pay are kept safe. A dismissal, though, that's the stop button. It makes the previous denial of your claim final, and you could lose everything you've been fighting for. Your goal is always to get a postponement, never a dismissal. So how does a judge decide whether to grant you that all-important postponement? Well, they use a legal standard called good cause. And it's not just any old excuse. It has to be a reason that the Social Security Administration officially considers valid. This definition, it comes straight from the SSA's own internal rulebook. The judge is basically looking for circumstances that were truly beyond your control, often related to your health or other serious issues that genuinely made it impossible for you to be there. Your reason has to be significant, and it has to directly explain why you couldn't attend. So what actually counts as good cause in the real world? Here are some of the classic examples. A sudden trip to the hospital, the death of a close family member, or a massive snowstorm that shuts down all the roads. Those are almost always accepted. Even if the SSA messed up and sent your hearing notice to the wrong address, that can be a valid reason. But notice that last one, a transportation breakdown. It comes with a little asterisk. With proof. And that, my friends, brings us to a really critical point. This really highlights the golden rule of this whole process. Documentation is king. You can't just call up and say your car broke down. You need to prove it. A mechanic's receipt, a bill from the tow truck, hospital discharge papers. This is the kind of hard evidence that turns an excuse into a legally accepted reason. Without verifiable proof, a judge is way more likely to just deny your request. All right, let's flip the script for a second. So far, we've been talking about missing a hearing because of an emergency. But what if you ask for a delay on purpose? Sometimes requesting a postponement, which is also called a continuance, can actually be a really smart, strategic move to make your case even stronger. For example, imagine you just had a major surgery, and those new medical records are absolutely vital to proving your disability. If those records haven't arrived yet, it's much better to postpone the hearing than to go in with an incomplete file. The same thing goes if a key witness can't make it, or, and this is a big one, if you need more time to find a lawyer. And get this is a powerful protection that's baked right into the system. The rules recognize just how important it is to have legal representation. If you show up all by yourself, the judge must give you the option to reschedule so you can get that legal help. It's a pretty clear signal that having an expert on your side can make a huge difference in the outcome. Okay, but what if the worst case scenario happens? You missed your hearing, you didn't call ahead, and now the court is taking action. Your last line of defense is a very official sounding document called a notice to show cause for failure to appear. When you get that notice, a clock starts ticking. And let me tell you, it ticks fast. You have just 10 days to respond in writing and explain why you missed your hearing. This is an extremely tight, non-negotiable deadline. So what do you do? Okay, first thing, don't panic, but absolutely do not wait. The moment that notice shows up, you need to start gathering all that proof we talked about, those hospital records, that mechanic's bill. Then you have to write a clear, professional explanation of your good cause and get it submitted along with your evidence before that 10-day window slams shut. Let me be crystal clear about this. Ignoring this notice is the same thing as giving up. Your case will be dismissed. Your response is your final shot to convince the judge that you had a legitimate reason for not being there. It has to be well supported, and most importantly, on time. All right, now for a slightly different scenario. What if you actually make it to the hearing? It gets going, but then the judge decides to stop it right in the middle. This isn't a postponement, it's something else entirely. This is called an adjournment. It happens when a judge is in the middle of a hearing and realizes, hey, a key piece of information is missing here. For instance, they might decide they need an opinion from a medical expert about your condition, or they want to see the results of a recent test before they can make a fair decision. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another delay? Frustrating, right? But an adjournment can actually be a really good sign. It shows the judge is actually engaged with your case and isn't willing to make a decision based on an incomplete record. This is a sign that the judge is taking your claim seriously and wants to get it right. Okay, let's do a quick lightning round of the most important takeaways here. Number 1, if you're running late, always call the hearing office. Number 2, remember, a postponement saves your claim. A dismissal ends it. 3, good cause requires hard, verifiable proof. 4, if you get a show cause notice, you have just 10 days to act. And finally, don't forget that sometimes a strategic delay can be your best move. Look, navigating the Social Security system is all about understanding its very strict rules and procedures. A missed hearing doesn't have to be the end of the road. By knowing the difference between a postponement, a dismissal, and an adjournment, you can protect your rights and keep your claim alive. The system has its rules, for sure. The real question is, now, do you have a strategy?